Patient 502, an enigma, a mystery, a whisper in the hospital corridors echoing through time. He haunted room 502, a permanent fixture in the ever-changing tapestry of the ward. Nurses changed, patients came and went, yet he remained, a silent, unmoving testament to an unknown ailment. He was admitted as a young man, full of hope, full of life, they said. Then it happened. The unknown struck. His body, once vibrant, became his prison. He was trapped, a prisoner in his own flesh, unable to escape. His story, or what little we knew of it, was a tragedy whispered amongst the staff. A stark reminder of the fragility of life, the mysteries that medical science could not yet unravel. He was a constant question mark, a living embodiment of the unknown. His world shrank, four walls, a ceiling, the steady beep of machines, his only companions. Days bled into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. Time lost all meaning within the sterile confines of room 502. The hospital staff became his only connection to the world outside. Their voices, the rustle of their uniforms, the clatter of medical instruments, his only symphony. He observed them with an unnerving stillness, his eyes reflecting a depth of understanding that was both unsettling and profound. He never spoke, not a word. Whether by choice or circumstance, no one knew, but his silence spoke volumes. It hinted at a world within, a world we could only speculate about, a world forever hidden behind the bars of his condition. His body, once a vessel of vitality, became a battleground. His muscles, once strong and supple, atrophied. His limbs, once used for embracing life, lay still. His condition, a cruel parody of existence, kept him tethered to a life he could no longer fully experience. Medically, his case was baffling. Tests were conducted, scans analyzed, yet a definitive diagnosis remained elusive. The doctors, initially confident and determined, grew increasingly perplexed. His condition challenged their understanding, mocked their expertise, and forced them to confront the limitations of their knowledge. His was a body in constant revolt, a rebellion against the very essence of life. And yet, amidst this biological warfare, there flickered a spark of consciousness, of awareness, that hinted at the presence of a mind very much alive. Section 4. The Mind Behind the Curtain. Though his body lay imprisoned, his mind soared. This much was evident. His physical form was confined to the bed, but his thoughts were free, unbounded by the walls of the hospital room. His eyes, windows to his soul, followed the nurses, absorbed the sounds of the hospital, registered every minute detail. They were not just passive observers but active participants in his silent world. He was there, present, observing, analyzing. Every movement, every sound, every flicker of light was a piece of the puzzle he was constantly solving. Was it sensory deprivation, I wondered, that heightened his remaining senses? Or perhaps it was the isolation that sharpened his mind, making him more attuned to his surroundings? Or was it something more profound? A deeper, more intrinsic adaptation of the human brain to its circumstances? A rewiring of the neural pathways, a compensatory mechanism employed by the brain to cope with his physical limitations? The brain's remarkable ability to adapt and find new ways to experience the world. Was he experiencing the world with an intensity we, with our fully functioning bodies, could barely comprehend? An intensity that made every moment vivid and profound. I found myself drawn to him, this silent observer. His presence was a quiet yet powerful force in the room. There was a depth to his gaze, an intelligence that transcended the limitations of his physical form. His eyes spoke volumes, revealing a mind that was active and engaged. In those moments when our eyes met, I felt an inexplicable connection, a silent conversation passing between us. It was as if we understood each other without the need for words, a profound and unspoken bond. Section 5. A Life Half-Lived. His life, if it could be called that, was a study in contrasts. A delicate balance between light and shadow, hope and despair. A bizarre juxtaposition of confinement and liberation. His days were spent in a physical prison, yet his mind roamed free. His body, a prisoner of his condition, yet his mind unbound, free to explore the realms of imagination, of thought, of the human experience. He lived in two worlds simultaneously. Did he yearn for the life he once had? The days of freedom, of movement, of simple joys? Did he dream of walking again, of feeling the sun on his skin, the wind in his hair? Or were those dreams now distant memories? Or had he, over the years, made peace with his situation, finding solace in the quiet sanctuary of his own mind? Perhaps he found a new kind of freedom within. As I sat by his bedside, lost in contemplation, I couldn't help but feel a profound sense of empathy for this man, this stranger who had become a fixture in my life. His silent strength spoke volumes. His story, though shrouded in mystery, served as a potent reminder of the preciousness of life, of the fragility of our existence, and the importance of cherishing every single moment. In his silence, he taught me more than words ever could. Section 6. The institution and the individual. The hospital, a place of healing, had ironically become his permanent residence. It was a sterile, clinical environment, a far cry from the warmth and comfort of a true home. Yet it was all he knew. The nurses, his surrogate family, cared for him with a mixture of compassion and quiet resignation. They had grown accustomed to his presence, his silence, his unchanging routine. He was a part of the fabric of the ward, his story woven into the very walls of the hospital. And what of him, I wondered, this man who had known no other life for so long? Did he long for the outside world, or had the hospital become his sanctuary, a place of refuge from the uncertainties and complexities of life beyond its walls? Section 7. The unsolved riddle of patient 502. Patient 502. The man who never left the hospital. His presence lingered in the air, a ghostly reminder of the unresolved. His story remained an enigma, a medical mystery that continued to baffle and intrigue. Every doctor who reviewed his case left with more questions than answers. He was a constant reminder of the limits of our understanding, of the vast unknown that lay beyond the realm of our current knowledge. His case was a puzzle with missing pieces. As I prepared to leave room 502, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was leaving behind more than just a patient. It felt like abandoning a story that was yet to be told. I was leaving behind a mystery, an unsolved riddle that would continue to haunt the corridors of the hospital long after my departure. The unanswered questions would echo in the empty halls. His silence, his stillness spoke volumes. It was as if he was communicating through his very lack of movement. It was a silence pregnant with unspoken stories, with unasked questions, with a lifetime of experiences locked away within the confines of his own mind. Each moment of stillness was a chapter left unread. He was a living paradox, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, and a stark reminder of the mysteries that continue to shape our understanding of life itself. His existence was a silent challenge to the boundaries of medical science.